Hey everybody, so it is Trainer Tip Thursday. So today I'm just going to go over how to properly do a squat. So I'm not talking about a sumo squat or a wide leg squat, but just a regular feet right under those hips type of squat. So just make sure you guys can see my feet. There we go. All right, so I see a lot of people when they're doing squats come a little bit wider and turn their toes out. Now that is totally fine, depending upon if you have any hip issues, if you have any knee issues, any type of joint thing going on with your lower body, that's totally fine. However, we do want to eventually progress into just a regular feet right under those hip squats with those toes pointing forward. You've probably heard a lot that it's not okay for your knees to go over your toes. That's actually not true. They can go over your toes as long as you're not also leaning too much forward on your chest. So it really all depends on the form. So from the front, you want to make sure that your knees are going to externally rotate out. So when we squat, sometimes what happens is that our knees kind of come in or they come way too far out when we want them to stay in line directly over those toes. So knees over toes over ankles. So if your knees are going over your toes, we don't want them out, we don't want them in. That's going to cause a lot of issues in your hips and your knees later on. So making sure that we externally rotate those toes, what I like to do is kind of roll from my big toe to my pinky toe out, and then I'll rotate out, my butt will squeeze. So now my knees are already ready to go. I already have that glute action going on. So I'm coming all the way down. I'm activating my muscles as I'm doing that, keeping my chest up nice and tight, getting a full depth here. I'm feeling like I'm leaning back on my heels. My toes right now are not even on the ground. And then I'm coming up to that full stand with that slight tuck at the top, really focusing on my glutes. So what your squats, where you're gonna feel that is gonna be in your glutes and your quads from the side. Again, what that's gonna look like is, again, I'm gonna externally rotate my knees out so that they are over my toes, because I'm one of those people where my knees kind of already like to internally rotate. So I'm externally rotating those, squatting down, keeping my chest up, my back is flat here. Again, I'm getting to that full depth. I'm not letting my back arch. I'm not letting the upper back round out. We're just staying nice and flat here. And then we're coming up, tucking at the top. Again, it's not an aggressive tuck, but we still wanna make sure that we're feeling that in our glutes and in our quads. Our core is always gonna be activated. A couple of things I see here is leaning, which we don't wanna do. Think of that full squat again. You're gonna feel like you're falling over. Toes are gonna come up off the ground. That's the best way to put it for that full depth. If you can't get there yet, that's totally fine. Go for a half squat. Whatever you can do to eventually get into that full depth squat with that proper form.